What do you do if you've got a low or a flat tire? In this video, I'm going to show you how to change a tire. The first thing you're going to want to do is find out where your spare tire is. That will depend on your vehicle. Most of them in a car are going to be in the trunk. If you have a vehicle with a big trunk, the chances are your spare tire is going to be in here. If you're not sure where your spare tire and jack stand are, then check the owner's manual in the index, tires. For me is on page 421. The best part is the pictures. The way you access it is unscrew the wing nut. More often than not, it'll look very similar to this. There's your jack. This is just to help facilitate where it stays. And here is your spare tire. It's a good idea to check these periodically to make sure your spare has pressure. More often than not, you're going to notice that your spare tire does not look the same as your regular tire. We refer to these as donuts, but it's just for temporary use while you get your regular tire repaired or replaced. It's not a bad idea to keep a pair of work gloves in your trunk. I'll put a link to some of these in the description. You want to get your vehicle to a flat surface. You don't want to try to change a tire when your vehicle's on an incline. Do whatever you can to get your vehicle off of the street. You don't want to be changing a tire and have vehicles driving by right next to you. But if you do have to be on the street, make sure you turn on your emergency blinkers. Generally, you don't want to have a vehicle that has a flat tire, but if you have to get to solid ground or level ground, it's probably a better option. If you end up needing to change a tire on gravel or something other than concrete, it's not a bad idea to keep a small piece of wood with you that you can use for the jack stand. In our Toyota Minivan, the hardware is in a panel here in the back. There's the jack, here's the crank used to raise the jack, and we also have the crowbar lug nut remover. So this is where the hardware is, but where the heck is the spare? Let me show you. In our minivan, the spare tire is underneath the carriage. The way you lower the spare tire in this vehicle is access a hidden little lug nut under the carpet. They provide a nice little tool that you can use to put on that, and with that, lower the tire. When you've got the spare down, let out extra cable so that you can get underneath it, and the little thing that turn it sideways and it'll come up through the hole, and then you can get the tire out. Once you've got the spare, check it to make sure it's got tire pressure. That's as easy as any other way. Before we jack the vehicle up, we want to break the lug nuts loose. In our case, I've got a wheel cover. I can use the crowbar to pry off, and that exposes the lug nuts. We want to do this while it's on the ground because we want the pressure to stop the wheel from turning. I've already set the park brake, but this will just make sure it doesn't rotate. And then turn that one, and then I'm going to go on a star pattern. Not the next one, but I'm going to skip one, go over there, skip one, go over here. Ooh, that one was stiff. It's always easier to push down to break them loose and to tighten them. Once I've got them all loose, then we can jack it up. In this vehicle, it tells me that this is the location for the jack for a rear tire, and it's got a similar mark for the one in the front. Position the jack underneath and turn it by hand until I feel some pressure, and then I'll use the crank arm to raise it off the ground. Now I can take the lug nuts off and switch the tires. Remember, if you're getting value out of this video, do me a favor and give it a like. With a flat tire off, you're ready to put the spare on. You just line it up with the lug nuts, and sometimes it helps if you can sit down and prop it up with your feet to position it, like so. And then hand start the lug nuts. And just remember, if you're ever at the side of the road, changing the spare tire, and you learn how to do it from Stepdad, that while you're doing it, you do have a dad that loves you. Tighten them by hand as far as we can get them. Jiggle them around, and you can get these tighter. The same star pattern, or basically skip one every time you go around. So I'm going to skip one, go over there, skip that one, go over here, skip that one, go over here. I have the park brake set, so this doesn't want to turn anyway. So I'm going to tighten these down just a little bit more. Okay, now they're all just finger tight with a little bit extra. We'll put the weight of the vehicle back on the ground by lowering the jack stand. Once that's off, we want to really torque these back down again. This time I'm going to tighten them with all my body weight in a star pattern. So skip one, I'm going around clockwise or counterclockwise, skip one, snug it down, skip one, snug it down. As you do that, you'll notice that some that you've already snugged down will snug down a little bit more. The easiest way is if you can hold this so that it's at horizontal, as close to horizontal, and then put all your body weight on it and make sure they're snug. You don't want your tire to come off while you're driving down the road. Hubcaps maybe, tires no. No, you really don't want your hubcap to come off either. If you have a wheel cover, look for the cutout for the valve stem. So here's the valve stem, that's where you put air in the tire. There's going to be a cutout. In this case, it's right there. I'm going to put that through the hole that's made for that valve stem, and then I'll tap it around the outside, just snapping it back into the wheel like that. Now you know how to change a tire on a vehicle. Always remember, if you're growing up and your dad's not in your daily life, you can still succeed. And you do have a dad that loves you. And I'll see you on the next video.